Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game, and today our top 10 Borg upgrades that can be crew, tech, weapons, Borg slots, elite talents. Jerry, am I missing anything there?
Nope, you got it.
All right. And, with that, Jerry's here to wrap up our three-part Borg series of the best of Borg, which I think Star Trek did a DVD series on the best of Borg episodes. Um, I will say for me, I had 13 upgrades that I agonized over, and I'm sure you'll probably toss out another couple that make me go, "Dope, miss that." Um, but I know in our Borg ships we talked a lot about Borg ablative hull armor. I did not have
Yep.
that on my list. I also sadly could not find any place for multi-kinetic neutronic mines. As much fun as I've had with those, I could not justify the points in today's day and age, and not even as like the next three down. So those were two not so honorable mentions, but fun moments I've had in my past attack wing times. So if the honorable mentions hit from cards you bring in, I will mention them. If they don't, I'll mention them at the end. How about that?
Same, and I will say this. I didn't have a hard time coming up with 10 at all. Um, I there is one card that I completely omitted, and again, it's due to my lack of playing a lot of Borg.
Okay.
Um, but it's a card that when we got to recording the series, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to put it in there. But it's not that big of a deal to me, and I'm sure you'll have it.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah. So let me kick things off. My number 10 is magnetometric guided charge,
That would be the one.
and this is my throwback. I was actually talking to somebody earlier this week about this card, and because I was trying to figure out why it has like completely fallen off the radar, and it's because this caveat of the target ship does not roll defense dice against this attack has become way less meaningful. Scan shenanigans. They're out there. If you want ways to make your opponent not roll defense dice, you're running Vulcans, you're running anything else that lets you multi scan.
Hmm.
And MGC is three dice, 5 points, a disable. The Borg don't re enable well outside of first. And sure, this gives you range three, but it's three dice. And outside of a scout cube, you're not really benefiting from it. Um, it's just a very expensive card. I like it though. I think it's a great card. Crits are fantastic, and they can really pump in the damage. They can make life hurt. Um, I also think it's fallen down a bit because of added shields. So unless you're running a combo with shield disabling, like oh goodness, it's the end of three videos. Klingons shield disabling, projected stasis field. There we go.
Yep.
Um, that's how you make magnetometric guided charge really hurt. Is no shields and no defense dice, but
Yeah.
that's very expensive and a lot of point investment into making a little attack hurt. So
Yeah.
anyway, a lot of
Yep.
talk about MGC for a card that doesn't get played a lot, but is still, I think, still a very viable Borg upgrade um, in the right hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the one card that I completely omitted just because I forgot it was there.
Ah, yeah.
Um, that's my only excuse I got for that.
I will say anything you can do to add attack dice to it, like a Denatra, makes it better.
Yeah. So for my number 10, I went with something again a little cheeky is the Borg support vehicle dock. Something that got introduced with Cube 384.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason why I included it is because my play group um, here in Grand Rapids before they disbanded, we actually had a lot of fun with this. Um, when we played in the nationals tournament in 2017, one of our group members placed second, and he won a physical copy of 384 from WizKids. So we were able to kind of play around with this, and he, we put it on more than just a sphere or anything. So he a lot of times he liked to run like the Thunder Child inside of the cube, and
Mm.
when his shields were gone, he'd throw the Thunder Child out or something. Which the point is, we have a lot of fun with it, and it was a lot of fun. It has a lot of good memories for me, um, and it's something that I feel like it's fun to build with. You get another ship with discount. I mean, the ships are -10 SP when they're inside the dock.
Yeah. Honorable mention for me. Uh, you know, I think it fell at number 11. And
Uh,
my favorite ship to hide in there is a Riemann Warbird.
there you go.
Not fun, not thematic, and that probably tells me that's a list I need to do of top 10 ships to hide as the Borg support vehicle dock.
There you go. That's a good list. I like that.
That's just fun. I mean, a sphere has to be number one, right? But
Yeah.
um, it still seems fun. All right. Number 9 for me is Feedback Pulse. Uh, and one very specific instance of this card. There's a Bajoran captain that can hide a tech. Now,
Oh.
when you see a face down Borg tech, you know what it is. You know it's feedback pulse, but you don't 100% know it's feedback pulse. And just the fact that it's sitting there, you kind of have to play as if it is. And if you ever brought a tech that wasn't feedback pulse, the mind game that's there, you've won just because you've tricked your opponent with the mind game. Um, but aside from that, because that's a really fun play, uh, but canceling an attack is great, right? Everyone should do it and do it more frequently. But then to send half of that dice back is even better. Feedback pulse is like the only time you will ever see somebody using their target lock to re-roll their own hits and crits. They're like, I don't want to take that. No, go away. Now you do take an ox power for it, which is unfortunate, but uh, it's it's such a good card because it's that attack you just made on me with 8 dice. No. Oh, and you're going to take some dice. Yeah. Okay. You're going to take damage from that. Uh, I've talked before. I like anything that can deal damage to my opponent. This is part of that, and it's fun.
Yeah, and that's interesting. You bring that card up. It's not one that I actually had on my radar at all. Um, Mainly because I've never seen it used like that, and it's very interesting. Um, I like that, and I may steal that if.
Oh yeah, that's something we did. Gosh, we did that in Hilmar for a while, and then we we brought it to Modesto, and then we brought it to I think we brought it over to Fremont uh, for a little bit, and other people used it, but I'm not sure how much popularity it ever got outside of the Central Valley of California.
Huh,
I
that's
know I heard about it somewhere else, and I'm pretty sure I talked about it on Warp Core Breach, but it's it's way back in the day.
yeah. Still, that's it's amazing. Like I said, I'm gonna might have to steal that and use it.
I gotta I'll get you a name here in a minute for the actual Bajoran captain. Oh, and
So my number 9 card is Borg, a Blade of Hull Armor. Um, Mainly because it's a good card. Don't get me wrong. It's a good card for what it does. Um, it's almost one of those ones that you find in a lot of Borg builds. The reason why it's so low on my list, and it's probably higher in your list is because of the cost. Again, that's my play style. That's my build style. I typically stay away from the cards that cost a lot. Um, I don't play a lot of Borg myself, so it's never really there. I have seen it used very effectively, and it's very annoying to play against. Um, but the reason why it's number 9 is just it's 10 points, and I get what it does,
Yeah.
and it completely deserves its 10 point rating for me.
Not even on my honorable mentions.
Really?
Yeah, definitely has
Wow.
had its
Okay.
moments, but with 50-point rule, nobody
Yeah.
can run it. I mean, I guess you can toss one on a generic sphere, but you've defeated the purpose of the sphere.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, instead, I have cards like Borg multi adaptive shields. During the compare results step, you can cancel a hit as long as you have shields. And
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
5 points. And I think you're going to live long enough to do that. And you can add something like reinforced shielding, where if you take 3 damage, you get a shield back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that.
Right? I mean, that's a neat little combo, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and all of that comes out as less than 10 points, and it's definitely going to add up to 4 damage. I mean, I shouldn't say
Oh.
definitely. It's most likely going to add up to 4 damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
If nothing else, it's at least 3,
That's true.
and it's cheaper. It's 7 points. So 7 points for 3 damage minimum, or 10 points for 4. I'll take my chances. So yeah, Borg
Yeah.
multi adaptive shields. Just uh, I think a more fun combo. Um, and a guarantee. I mean, I guess you don't have the crit salvage, but that's only really going to matter the turn you or the shot you lose your shields. Um,
Yeah.
whereas this, I guess you just have to perfectly save that crit. That crit has to go into the first 4 damage cards.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Huh.
or that crit would have had to not be in the first 4 damage cards you take. It would need to be just over, because after that you lose the card anyway. So
Right. Right.
yeah. Anyway, I think multi adaptive shields has done it better.
True.
You got to have a little more combo to make it work, but uh, yeah.
True. My number 8 is one Milana Torres, and again, the reason why I chose her to in my top 10 in the number 8 spot is she's a discounter.
Yeah.
It's exactly what she does. Um, she makes Borg, I believe, hull armor cheaper. The only other issue is you can only have her in that card to try and get the full maximum of the discount. But she's an interesting card that gives you a Borg slot and then gives you discounts for slots that you don't use. So it's kind of a different way of doing a discount, and I kind of like that. Um, but yeah, I use her a lot in my Borg builds or in my Fed Borg builds, or if I'm got anything going on with Borg and I need a slot, a Borg slot, I throw a lot of Torres in there. There are cheaper ways to do that, but again, if I'm building a clown car and I've got all these extra slots sitting out there that I'm not using, um, she comes in handy to give some discounts to whatever Borg tech I throw in that slot.
She does. I built with her. I like her. She didn't make my list. She didn't even make honorable mention just because she can be a bit finicky.
Yeah,
But I like where you're going with her. I do like her as an upgrade, and that should be showing the depth that Borg have here.
yeah,
If a card like her doesn't make a top 10 list, it says, hey, Borg are decently good. My number 7's Transwarp Signal. And this is, oh gosh, I think this is from Scout 608.
yep,
This is this is one of those mean cards. Discard the card, target a ship anywhere. Yeah, anywhere in the play area. Remove a token and place an Ox Power token beside the target ship. It's yeah, it's a way to beef up the token denial and the Ox Power game at the same time. 4 points feels a touch expensive, but then you realize you're messing with your opponent two different ways. And for me, it's a really good card. Uh, so yeah, absolutely. Transwarp Signal was one of the cards. Just like in thinking about this, I went, okay, I know that's going to be on the list. Question is where.
Yeah, and I will again be completely transparent. Not on my list,
Yeah, hey,
and that's probably because I came in afterwards. Didn't really see that card get a lot of play in my area, so it's not something that was on my radar too much.
yeah, I think it's still viable today. If you're going for any kind of token disruption, any kind of Ox Power play, Transwarp Signal helps you out.
Yeah, absolutely. My number seven is Goval.
Okay.
Cheap card, Borg independent,
Yeah.
um, helps save you from discarding something else, another crew card, a card that is probably on both of our lists a little later.
Yeah.
Um, but he's got other issues too, or other uses too. Um, we're talking he's not restricted to Borg, so we're talking now like in Auburntane, Elam Garrick combos that are out there. Goval can step in and take the place of Elam Garrick for a turn. Um, Things like that. There's more uses for him out there now.
Oh yeah, there's always been all kinds of uses for Goval. I
Yeah.
think years ago I did my top list of 1 point cards, and I'm pretty sure Goval was at the top of it. Uh, which would tell you Goval's coming for me. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, Goval very solid. I love that. I don't think I've ever used him as a discard to prevent a disable from going on one of my other crew, but I could
No.
see that happening. I could see a time where I want to, I need the action next turn. If it's near end game, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna make that happen. Let's go. Uh, but it's nice to have the option. Goval is like one of the most flexible 1 point cards in existence.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah. Um, Number 6. This is where cards started to sound the same. Uh, Technological analysis. See, there's technological distinctiveness, threat analysis, and technological analysis. And I didn't even realize it until I was putting my list together. But yeah, technological analysis has to go on a 360 ship, which is intriguing. But I don't know. I like it. It's again it's this token denial build, and there's something
Uh-huh.
about it that just keeps intriguing me. It I don't think it's everything, but it's something. And uh, yeah, it costs you a drone. You have to build for it. You have to know that it's going on. But uh, goodness, I'm thinking how useful this can be in missions where you have to have a scan token to do something on a mission objective. And you're like, yeah, at the start of the combat phase, I'm getting rid of your scan token. And your opponent just goes, really? I needed that scan token. Yeah, no, you didn't. Um, and I'm sure Tony's gonna hear that and go, okay, you're not allowed to play technological analysis on any missions we play now. Um, but even if you don't do it for that, even if you don't do it to mess with your opponent in a mission, I think it's still a really good competitive card, a jousting card to mess with
Uh-huh.
action tokens because it messes with quality and it keeps you alive longer and or it helps your attack get through if you get rid of an evade token. So yeah, lots to like.
All right. My number six is integrated Borg technology.
Mm,
Again, another 1 point tech card. Comes when resistance is futile. The faction pack.
yeah.
It's very simple. Gives you an additional Borg slot, and you don't pay a faction penalty for the card.
Probably the
So there,
closest we'll get to assimilated.
yeah, absolutely. And again, there's another card that's probably coming up that makes this card even better.
Oh yeah. Uh,
But this is just a straightforward. Here's a Borg slot. Throw something else in,
yep.
and we'll see you at number five.
And this didn't make my list, and I'm not quite sure why. I think I don't I truly don't know. I like it. It's great. It's just it's not great on its own, and I think that's why it dropped down. Is it
Yeah,
just
I can see that, and I wouldn't argue that point at all. It's not faction locked to anything either, so
right,
that's
right, right?
you get that, and then like I say, it does take another card to kind of make it better. And
Yeah,
when I'm
and losing your tech slot can be hurtful, uh, because tech is really good.
true,
Sometimes it depends on your faction. It depends on what you really need. Uh,
true.
so, yeah. All right. My number five is Goval, and for all the reasons we've already talked about, Goval is fantastic.
All right. So my number five is Seven of Nine,
Ah,
who
yeah,
again you pair it with the card in number six for me. You've got a bunch more Borg tech slots, and it's free. Well, not free, but the Borg you get discounted. So we're talking discounts again. Um, I've always paired the two cards together. I'm always using Seven of Nine to do something with Borg tech. Um, Again, I think she does her job a lot better than what integrated technology does.
yes.
And she's a crew slot, or she takes a crew slot, which there are definitely more crew slots in the game than there are anything else.
Uh-huh.
Um, so for those reasons, she makes number five for me.
Yeah, and like her and Balana make a natural pair,
Yes.
and and I have run that combo, and I love that combo. Um, an integrated Borg tech can even add to it more, whether you
Yep.
use it to fill the Borg slot or you use it for whatever. It doesn't matter. It's great. Seven didn't make my list, and again, I'm kind of sitting here going, I guess I just took a different tact. Because she's not bad in any way. She's not even on my honorable mention list, but she's good fun. I think I just totally glossed over the Balana Seven combo as I was making my list. I don't know what happened.
The Borg
But
happened.
in the same vein, I don't think I'd get rid of magnetometric magnetometric guided charge or feedback pulse. So yeah, I guess I'm just glad this all kind of came out the way it came out. Yeah, so my number four is ocular implants. And the only reason it didn't make the top three is because it's so restricted. Borg ship, Borg captain. Uh,
Yeah.
Not that you're limited these days because you have plenty of good options. We've talked about Borg ships and Borg captains. There are good ones. Uh, but I like you take a target lock, you get a battle station as a free action. It's great.
Yeah.
Uh, Works well on Voyager. It's all free, in fact. Works well on other Borg ships. Only downside, not going to help you against cloakers. Um, that's another reason it's dropped just a little bit. But the best part is, it's a talent slot, and Borg don't have anything competing in the realm of talents.
That's true.
The, the Borg talents outside of ocular implants are hot garbage.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you.
As the
So
dumpster rolls down the river.
I agree with you so much so that ocular implants is also my number four
Hey,
card.
there we go.
Um, it is very restrictive. There is one card that allows you to break those restrictions.
That lore.
That would be lore.
Which is very
Um,
fitting in this case.
yeah. So there's my free combo for the day. Take lore and ocular implants. You can put them anywhere in your fleet. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, for all the same reasons, it's one of those cards that it feels like a Borg cheat code because you're getting the target lock and then you're getting a free battle stations off of that. So you're getting everything again. Those are the two tokens that everybody tries to make sure they have for that quality.
Uh huh.
That's awesome.
It is. It's great. Well, somehow I fear slash am excited that our top three might be the same again. Um, so my number three is threat analysis. 1 point, which is great. Action, place 2 time tokens on this card, put a battle station token beside the ship. It would have been number one if it wasn't an action or if it wasn't 2 time tokens. If you could do it every round. But given that it's an action and you can only do it every other round, it's number three. It's really good. It gives all Borg ships, really any ship you want, with the presence of integrated Borg technology, uh,
Yep.
access to battle stations every other round. But I think that's why it was done that way. Is you can have battle stations just every other round.
Yep.
So
Um,
that's why it's at number three for me and not higher. Still a great card.
yep. So I think your fears are can be put to rest. I do feel that our top three are probably the same, but probably not in the same order.
Ah, okay.
Um, so my number three card is second of five, and I know, second of five is probably one of the best board cards that are out there. It is a 3 point card. Crew, target a ship at range 1 to 2, discard, and you get rid of one upgrade of your choice. Not one crew, not one tech, one upgrade of your choice.
Yeah.
And it works against cloakers.
Mm-hmm.
So second of five has got a lot of play, and I've seen him used a lot, and I have used him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, this is where Gomal comes in
Yep.
to get the second play of second of five. Can really mess with your opponents that way. Um, but he's not my top card, and I'll explain why when we get there.
Okay. See, I remember the days of 5 to 2, and that's all I'll say about that. Uh, Number two for me, technological distinctiveness. Hey,
Same.
uh, I mean, fantastic card because you know what the Borg needed was more attack dice,
Yeah.
but that's what they got. And you know what? I very much appreciate that this card is unique because if it was just ship unique, I think we would all cry. Um, for 2 reasons. One, having to face Borg with all the
Multiples out
Borg
there.
with 9 attack dice, and two, having to buy 3 Borg faction packs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
keep in mind for those who are watching, rule of three does take place, but technological distinctiveness lives in this subset where you can add more than three onto this card. So you can run things like, I don't know, Meridor Ale, or
yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. You can. It's rule of three is a net,
Yeah.
an end result. So printed value of 6 means at the end of the day, you're guaranteed 3, and you can't roll more than 9 unless you're at range 1. Then you can go to 10.
Right.
But you can do all kinds of weird math in the middle that make you go up and down like an elevator. It's just the bottom floor is 3 and the top floor is 9, except the penthouse,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
range. So, yeah, if you're doing something that knocks your dice down, you can also raise your dice up to counter the down.
Yes.
It's now, I mean, that's a lot of stacking turns at the beginning. And if I see you start doing that, I am slow playing that to death, and you're never going to actually come at me. because we'll exhaust our time.
Yeah.
And I mean legally slow play, because I don't actually have to engage you if you have technological distinctiveness and Meridor Gornale and you want to spend 5 rounds prepping your combo.
Right.
Sorry, that's on you, not on me. But yeah,
True.
the fact that you can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
Fair enough.
Uh,
All right.
but yeah, it's really good. Um, yes, so my number one is Second of Five, and like I said, I remember the days of winning games 5-0, 3-0, 6-2.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't like those days. Those were very weird days. Um, and the reason those existed is you used to get points. The shorthand colloquial version is you got points for things you forced your opponent to discard or things that were no longer on their ship.
Right.
Um, that's not the official wording, but that's the way it worked. A second of five was the biggest reason for that and the best way to do any of that. Nowadays, you don't get those points, but second of five is still the best way to mess with your opponent's fleet. You see, technological distinctiveness, as scary as it is, as messy as it is, second of five says, oh, you don't need that. Why,
True.
why would you need technological distinctiveness? No, go away. Oh, I know you spent 5 turns building it up, and you have 5 mission tokens there. Discard that.
Yeah,
Uh,
we in our group we always called it pulling the linchpin.
yeah, and second of five plus go vol means you get to pull 2 linchpins,
Yep.
probably on 2 different ships, or maybe 2 linchpins from the same ship. Um, yeah, um, I'm intrigued that Dispersion Field didn't make either of our lists because Dispersion Field is the protection on your ship uh, from a card like Second of Five.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good point. Again, dispersion field is not something I had on my radar.
yeah, because the first thing that messes with you, Dispersion Field says, "No, I got you," and then throws itself out the airlock.
So my number one is threat analysis, and the main reason why threat analysis is number one for me and not number three is because it is not unique. It is not
Yeah,
one per ship.
fair.
You pair this with 7 of 9 and on a Borg ship, so you're getting a Borg slot. 7 of 9 is going to give you an extra Borg slot, and she discounts all Borg slots or all Borg tech.
Yeah,
So you'll get you'll get a pair of threat analysis for free, 0 points. So it doesn't matter if you do this every other turn. You'll get to activate one threat analysis each turn, and then just flip flop back and forth between them. So you'll get a battle stations every round, pretty much,
yeah,
for free. Well, not for free. It's an action, but
yeah.
still, pair it with ocular implants, or not ocular implants. With Voyager, you're good to go. Um, yeah, threat analysis got a lot of play in my meta, and it continues to get a lot of play in my local area. That just popped up. They're starting to play it a lot, just because it is a cheap card, very simple, 2 time tokens for battle station. Something that the board didn't have access to on their action bar. It's there and available for cheap.
Yeah. Well, and here's the good thing. Nothing stops you from running all 3 of these top 3 cards.
True.
It's yeah. I do understand. Yeah, threat analysis you can run multiples of, and that doesn't always cross my mind, but I like it. No, it's the same reason why you run 2 copies of Ferengi photon torpedoes, is so
Yep.
you can fire them every single turn. Um,
Yep. If this card was just one per ship, then 2 of 5 would have been my number one.
okay.
Our top three would look the same. But just the
Okay.
fact that you can run two of them at the same time is that's the linchpin for me.
So, two cards that didn't make my list, and I'll go. These were my other two like main honorable mentions, and I want to go pull them out because it's easier to see than it is to uh, just talk about them.
Sure.
But yeah, interlink transceiver, which I keep
Yep.
feeling like there's maybe a little something here. This ship and all friendly Borg ships within range increase their agility value by one. And granted, it's range one. It's 2 points. I don't think it's everything, but it's a little passive ability that can help a tiny bit. Um, Again, it was probably never going to make my top 10. There was never a moment where it was in serious contention, but it was just kind of this like, oh, the fact that it says this ship, I can put that on anything. It doesn't have to be a Borg ship. And then I just want to boost friendly Borg ships.
Yeah.
So I could boost the agility of a Riemann Warbird, and then all friendly
Mm,
Borg ships that go with me. I have to find a way to put a Borg slot there. Uh, but, integrated Borg technology does that. Seven does that. Uh, I have ways. I think
yeah.
integrated Borg is probably the best way, but yeah. And then Mazzotti, which I feel like Mazzotti should be better, should see more play, uh, because she counters second of five. Whenever the effect of a crew upgrade would target this ship, discard this card, target that crew upgrade, disable the target crew upgrade, and cancel its effect. I guess she's just postponing the inevitable,
Yeah.
but it's like she is protection at the start of the game against Koth and Jen Cisco. I mean, she's probably going to make Jen Cisco uh, just pick a different ship, but she's gonna she's gonna mess over Koth.
Yeah.
I don't know. They weren't going to make my top 10, but they at least say that there's something. I think Mazzotti could have been done better. Um, to instead of discard the herself, uh, she should have like disabled herself, or she should have discarded the target crew upgrade and canceled its effect. Like she
Yeah.
needed to have equal power to what she was doing. If she's being discarded, she should have discarded the target crew and said, "Nope, we're both out," or
Yeah. That's true.
disable. But
That's true. So interlink transceiver is definitely one that I looked at. But as you said, there's something about it that I can't really put my finger on. Like I want to use it better. Um, and probably the way you described is probably the best way to use it. As far as Mazzotti goes, she's one that I just don't really think about because it's hard to find a spot for her.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
another
because
one that I
she's
thought of
crew and it.
was yeah. Another one that I thought of was neonatal Borg or neonatal Borg.
Oh yeah, that's
Um, that's an interesting one for sure. Adds crew slot to the upgrade bar. If it's equipped to a Borg ship, then you can have Borg crew upgrades fill the tech and Borg upgrade slots. It's interesting. I've seen it used. Um, it's just one of those cards. It's one of those cards that you would use if you need an upgrade slot or you need a crew slot or you need crew for something.
Yes.
Which is what I saw it used for. It was used in conjunction with a Klingon Borg Burrell, and they had gosh, I'm trying to think of the card name now. Conditional Surrender.
Okay.
They had they had room on there for Jen Sisko, Neonatal Board, Koth, and then Conditional Surrender, so they could airlock all those crew if they needed to. That's what I saw it used for. But again, it's not a card that I reach for, so it's not something that was going to make my list. But kind of on the outside, wanted to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Neuralink's another kind of intriguing one. Being able to rearrange drone tokens. So especially if you're doing something with Queen Vessel Prime,
Yeah,
and you want to, so you build up a stack, a cache of drone tokens, spin drone tokens elsewhere, and then rearrange and get back to starting.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it's a one time use. So
yeah.
I don't know. And then like I've always had this kind of soft spot for regeneration sequencer. That came on Assimilation Target Prime, the grand prize one,
Uh-huh.
where you get durability back, hull or shield for every upgrade you discard. Uh,
Yeah.
and I used to run two of them at the same time on the same ship, and just like I feel like there's maybe even a combo there with all the Klingon or not Klingon, Ferengi stuff that discards to get Gold Press Latinum,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Grawl and Nava. So you're discarding to get Gold Press Latinum and to repair your ship. And
Huh.
if that's not the most Ferengi thing ever, I don't know what is.
Right.
I'm just like, okay. But again, that's like financially irresponsible to go buy two of the most expensive pieces in the game
Yep.
to run this silly off the wall build
Right.
that is
Um,
not competitively viable in any way, shape, or form.
and we kind of talked about this in the last video for the Borg captain rankings. But was there anything that you felt the Borg were missing in this kind of area of the game?
I, I think the Borg need better talents, right?
Yeah.
The only talent that came anywhere close on either of our lists was ocular implants. By the way, the Bajorn captain for feedback pulse is Tanalos.
Ah. Okay. That
Um,
makes sense.
and he makes feedback pulse cost 3 points.
Nice.
That's why it's
Yeah.
so good. Um,
Put that in my pocket.
yeah. So, but talents, and even if it was something like you can a cheap talent that let you transfer a drone token,
Yeah.
uh, or like gain a drone token for 3 time tokens, just as a passive ability. Uh,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that the faction could use, not because they're not good enough. I think they're perfectly good. It's that they're just a step behind other factions. Um, Tristan and I did a ranking of the factions. Um, I have Borg as my. I'm pulling up my ranking list. I had Borg as number 4 behind Fedrom and Klingon. He had his lower behind Dominion Independent. I'm not sure where the truth of it is. Um, I think Dominion in the hands of the right person is probably better than Borg.
Yes. Yes. And with the inclusion of the Cardassian unit, I think they eke the Borg out just by a little in my own personal ranking in my head. I would have it Fed, Klingon, Rom, Dominion, Borg, Independent. And
And like Romulan and Klingon are such a toss up. Their play style.
yeah, very much so.
Uh, but
Romulans just got a lot of love. I can't fly them worth beans.
oh yeah, yeah.
I can fly Klingons all day, but you would think they would fly the same. But the minute you jump over to a Romulan ship, and
No,
yeah, no,
they're yeah. Um, and I have Dominion lower because I even think Independent as a faction is maybe a little stronger than Dominion just because of everything that they can do. Um, but I think Dominion's gotten a lot more help recently,
yes,
and Independent has not.
yeah, Independent hasn't really seen any love since the Motley Fleet
Yeah,
a
and
couple
that
years
was
ago.
not a lot of love.
True.
Uh, yeah,
Well,
gonna
I
have to
take that
rank
back.
those again.
Yeah,
But anyway, so what do they need? They need talents because now they have good captains, but they don't have good talents.
yeah,
And I
um,
feel like now the Borg are at a place where Klingons were in 2017. They're except the Borg are miles ahead ship wise, tech, talent or not talent, tech, crew, upgrade wise in general. I think they're
yeah,
behind on weapons. That's another thing. Borg need better weapons.
yeah. Because I didn't even have a single weapon on my list.
Right, and I have one. But I mean, the
Yep,
Borg succeed on primary weapons. Okay, cool. But they're not successful overall.
yeah,
Um, Clearly, they've gotten a lot of help in their Borg slots. That's made a big difference for them.
yeah. Very much. Yeah, I would agree there.
I think their
Um,
tech is solid. Their crew feels good. You and I took two different pathways with their crew. Goval, second of five. You explored much more into the crew. Balana and seven, very good.
yep,
I don't know that they have enough depth with the crew. I do think that even somebody like Magnus Hansen is a really nice 1 point card where he saves you a drone token.
sure.
Um,
Yeah,
but that's a 1 point crew. I a faction's not built on 1 point cards. And even like
true.
Borg Blade of Hull Armor, it I think it's showing its age.
Yes, yep. I would tend to agree with you there because I think there are newer cards that came in, might have been shipped in the line, that it doesn't do the same, but it does. Yeah, a Blade of Hull Armor for the Prometheus class.
Like
Yeah, it's a 6 point card for you put 3 damage cards under it instead of 4, but
yeah,
does
so
everything the same.
it almost feels like Borg Blade of Hull Armor should be at 8 instead of 10,
Yes, yeah,
which
I would tend to
doesn't
agree with that.
doesn't solve it. It doesn't solve the issue, but I think it helps it a little bit. Um, I don't know. I Assimilation feels like the cop out, but then I worry that the Borg have become the best faction, depending on
Yeah,
how it was implemented.
yeah, and that's what I was going to say is that if we're talking about what thematically fits the board that's missing, it's assimilation, but I don't know how that would be implemented. I don't know how that would even translate to attack wing. They did put in resistance is futile a new assimilation tubules,
Yeah,
but that only takes a crew. Where the
yeah.
board we know can assimilate technology too.
But I
And
guess
again,
in the
very
span
restricted.
of a battle of a a battle's meant to represent minutes.
Yeah,
The Borg aren't assimilating technology in minutes. They could. Don't get me wrong, they could. But um okay, here's the other thing I think the Borg are missing. Adaptation.
Yes,
The Borg have no means of adapting to the same weapon, shooting them over and over and over again.
that's a great point.
And I think that really does hurt them. And I don't know how you put that in the game, but I feel like something needs to be done there where because you don't want a tracking system necessarily. But
Right.
it's kind of like if all you're doing is shooting the Borg with your primary weapon phasers, the Borg are going to adapt.
Yeah.
And
It makes me feel like they need their own shield adaptation card.
yeah, I think they do. And they had one, didn't they? Or was that just species? I
Uh,
don't recall.
yeah,
I
I don't either.
if it existed, it wasn't very good. It needs to be done better.
Yeah.
It needs to be something like each time you're attacked, you get a you get a mission token, and then you can spend that mission token to take half the damage or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like that swings it back the other way. See, and fundamentally, this is my issue with the Borg. The Borg are so superior to everything else in the Star Trek universe. They are impossible to balance and
Yep.
still feel Borg.
Yep.
So it's a game of compromises and half designs. And you can make the characters feel right, and you can make the captains feel right, and you can even make the ships feel right. And the Borg can still feel really good. But aside from putting in artificial stopgaps and artificial rules to limit and curtail what the Borg can do, you don't get the right Borg. And then
Right.
the question is, what kind of Borg do you want? Do you want Q Who Borg? Do you want Encounter? Do you want Best of Both Worlds Borg? Or do you want Voyager Borg? Because those are
Yeah.
three very different Borg.
Yeah. That's a good point too.
See, Q Who Borg will decimate you, and you will not live to tell the tale. Best of Both Worlds Borg, again, probably going to do the same thing, but you actually have a little bit of hope. And Voyager Borg, you start going, oh, we get to, if we're cute enough and play enough shenanigans, we'll be fine.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either.
And I don't expect anyone to know the answer to that. But um, and I'm not the game designer. I'm just the guy who talks about this a lot, and I'm still left here kind of wondering, what's right for the game. What lets Borg evolve, re- retain its identity, be feared, but not ever get back to the point where everyone's running it, and if you're not, you don't have a chance of winning.
Yeah.
And the only thing that stops you from running it is a is a store, a group of people coming together and saying, "Okay, fine, we're not running Borg." because the game shouldn't be that either.
Yeah, it's a very fine line to walk. And as you said, I'm not going to have the answers. No one's going to have the answers for
No,
that.
not now. At some point, it's definitely a piece of an evolving discussion that needs to be had.
Yeah,
So, you, listener, viewer, can be a part of that discussion, and you need to be a part of that discussion because the more that's said, the better the end product's going to be at some point. And if you don't say anything, well, then you can't sit back and complain about it. Um,
right.
that's my take at least. So, Jerry, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it.
Not a problem
Folks,
at all.
check out Jerry's work. Uh, Tabletop Simulator 1, Utopia 2, your channel, Antari Shipyard
Yep.
for 3. I mean, order is irrelevant. You do all those things and you do them well. Um, you want in depth content, he's your man on Antari's there. Um, but yeah, and yeah, thanks so much again for watching, everyone. Appreciate it. And I know we get into stuff here at the end, but that's the fun of it all. So thank you all for watching. And until next time, keep brushing up your game.